Hello. On this thing I'm going to do today, I'm going to try to see how many I can open with this snap gun that I got. Not just like trying to do a marathon, but just more trying to understand what it will and will not work on. And basically try to understand the concept of what it's doing, which is it's like using inertia to cause the pins to line up just right at the right time. I have a Chinese practice lock that I got from China, obviously, and it came apart during shipping, so that when I received it, I had opened up the package and everything went everywhere. Luckily, I've opened up a lock before, and this isn't my first time to see one, but what I did was I put one pin back in, and I just loosely put this top on, which looks like it's never been glued. So the lock still works as a lock. If you were going to pick it, I mean, it would be pretty damn easy. But the same principle works. It won't turn without the key being inserted, and then when it does, I don't know if this side lines up better. When it does line up, you reach the shear line. Without the key in there, I don't know if you can see that or not, but the pin falls down physically and blocks it. Alright, so when you're snapping, you want to make sure that the snap gun doesn't go too far in and that the energy starts hitting up against there and basically robbing. You're wanting to snap these pins up while you're applying pressure, so that just like when you're tensioning a lock, it'll start catching when you set one pin, and so you snap, and sometimes it'll get it on the very first time. If you've got your tension right, you'll snap it. But a lot of times you do a lot of, and anybody's got headsets on, now would be the time to turn them off, because this is going to get noisy. But the principle behind it is you still need a tension bar. It's not like magical, and this lock won't turn right now. This should be really easy, and then it does that. And I haven't tried it with this. This should be like the easiest one. It'd be like I rigged a lock or something to open. I haven't even tried to pick it with one pin, but it should work. The key turns. So I'm positioning it in there and trying to reach all the way back to the stack and applying pressure. Click. There we go. That's how it works on all of the ones, or it should work on all the ones. This was just to show you the basic principle behind a lock, and to use this clear lock for other than, now I'm going to have to put it together. So now that we know that, let's see what it does on. And let me say, I haven't practiced with this pick gun. I mean, I did a video earlier of it one time, but I mean, I probably snapped this thing less than like 20 times, so this is an amateur basically trying to figure shit out. Worked pretty good on that one. It's no magic gun, but I mean, you don't have to teach people a lot of. Look at how bent that thing is. We're going to see like a lot of failures on this, because this is the cheap Chinese thing, and you also have an amateur, using amateur techniques and doing things wrong. Ooh, one snap on that one. But anyway, we can learn from novices, right? This guy right here is usually pretty easy to rake. I know where the sweet spot is or everything else. And I really love this lock for the fact that it's easy to do, but it has security pins, security spools, and it should, if anything's going to be resistant to opening up, this should be it. Now, as far as the tension on this thing goes, there's this little dial, but really, I have not noticed any difference on it. I've backed it all the way out and snapped it and looked at the throw, and I've ran it all the way top, and I can't see any difference, I mean, I'm trying to limit it so it doesn't go up and down so much, because there's really not that much room in this keyway for all that bouncing around. So you have to position it There we go, we got it with that one. I guess every once in a while, you look at that, it's becoming a wave. You just have to apply scientific pressure, which is not really scientific at all. You're just trying to straighten it up, I guess. If I wanted to, I'd set it on a table and bang it with a mallet. But after this is over, it's probably going to be banged up a lot more than that. Alright, here's a little El Chinese cheapo lock. I don't want this thing to go too long, so I'm just going to try to see how many I can pop open. Not really a quantity thing either, more of a different type. I've gotten the Brinks, I've gotten 2 master locks. I got a lot of master locks back there. It's a Chinese lock. And this is a Chinese tool. I've been close to China. I think the Chinese people are probably alright. Whoa. So I'm not having much luck with that and dropping that pick tool. It has a smaller keyway. Probably would require more finesse or whatever. Let's pick a bigger Chinese one right here. This is that one I found. It too has a smaller keyway. But I'm going to risk it anyway. I'm probably applying too much tension. Whoa. And you gotta watch that this thing doesn't. Oh, a word about this also. When you get these with these big ass wing nuts on there, they also supply another little nut besides these other tension tools. And that little nut is because if you don't adjust this right, this can come back in its backstroke and bump into this. It's a Phillips head on one side and a wing nut on the other. It's convenient. Comes loose a lot. But you can tighten it by hand and get back into action. Alright, let's try this Chinese lock again. Because we're already at 7 minutes. And I want to try this Ace lock over here, which is like an American clone series. I want to see if it'll get that. I'm willing to snap for a while. You're going to be like the king of the one that defeats everything? When we had a movie where you were like the star of the Chinese. I'm going to open you up at the end of this without the snap gun if I have to. Alright, let me go to this American lock. I do have the key for this. This is that one that I think is missing one pin. And there's the bitting on it. It's like a American, I think, 1100 series. You usually see like US stamped on the back of the ones I saw. Didn't say Ace on it. Anyways, let me try that one. Now this, I'm going to have to try top of the keyway tension, and I happen to have a pry bar. I don't remember if it's a heavy pry bar, so I don't know if it's from Sparrows. Just came out with 2 of them. I don't know if this is one of them. It's got serrations on the inside, and it grips this pretty well. Now this is where I don't know if a snap gun would work because you're using top of the keyway and you're not going to be able to snap it. Maybe I should use bottom of the keyway, but we already know bottom of the keyway is problematic. I'm going to try it anyway. Live and learn, live and learn. It's probably binding. I need a smaller one. I have opened this up using bottom of the keyway tension. It was kind of weird because this thing does resist. It has a pretty good spring tension in its core. I'm probably going in too deep. Every 3 or 4 clicks it feels like it bumps up. Definitely not surreptitious entry. You would think they're being attacked by angry crickets or something. Crickets on crack. We're not having much luck, and I didn't think we would. It might be because I'm using the wrong tension tool and binding the core. There's a lot of reasons why. Let's try a master lock. 140. I'm going to have to cut it off pretty soon because I don't want to go much over 10 minutes. It's going to take forever. I have learned something from this. I'm not trying to see, ooh, look how many locks I can open. Just want to try a different one. This should be a 4-pin. I'm going to set it up on the stack. By now I'd have thrown this thing up against the wall if I was trying to. It bent the shit out of it again. Anyway, hope we all learned something from this, that it will work on some locks pretty quickly. Some locks not so quickly. Ooh, oh, you need to be opened rapidly just because you're defying. And it operates on the principle like bump keys, the kinetic energy. On a bump key, you put it on the pin stack and you bump it and you're turning and it's transferring that bump force from one direction to the other. A zip is similar like that. You're on the pin stacks and you're coming back and you're just going so fast that as you bump these, it throws them up out of the way and fights that spring pressure in the lock on the pins. It fights that pressure long enough momentarily that if you're turning, it'll catch it before it comes back, and it can't come back into the same hole it came out of. That's basically the principle of bumping and picking and all that. Yeah, you need a lot of practice with it. These tools are okay. You just need to get like better heads on them and a lot of practice. I'll probably get a better one from Sparrows or Bocage or whatever eventually, but when I've got the money. I just wanted to see how well they were. And I tell you, there's some locks that I have, some Chinese locks that I tried to pick and pick and pick, and once in a while I'll get them, and you take this thing in there and you go snap, 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 or snap, snap, and it's open. Now that's pretty impressive when you want to do that, but you got to have the skill to do it, and you got to have the right tools, and it depends on the situation. You know, if you're doing something legal and you're, you know, a locksmith and you're trying to open somebody's front door, then fine. But if you're in the military and you're trying to get into something like, you know, a guardhouse, you're not going to be using one of these, I guarantee you. I don't know what you're going to be using, but it ain't going to be loud. Not as loud as that. Alright, I'm sorry I couldn't have opened more locks for you, but I had all these master locks, and you open one master lock, you've opened them all. All we're going to see is me bending picks or this thing breaking eventually. Alright, thank you for watching, and eventually one of these years you'll be able to see this video because it's gone 13 minutes, and whew, what a video.